I just had two people ask me for directions, and I couldn't help them. It's pretty cool, actually. Usually I can help them. It's kind of cool. I got my helmet is it's a mirror, so I'll get someone. It's kind of cool. Like I'll get people who like ask. They'll be excuse me, and then I'll lift up my visor, and I know they're going to ask for directions because they're in a car and they're looking out the window. And I'll lift up my visor, and then they'll see them white, and they're like, never mind. And I'll be like, no. What were you going to ask? Are you looking for someplace? Are you lost? And they'll be like, yeah, do you know where this road is? I'm like, yeah, sure. You go down here, hang a right, then a left, and it's like over there. And they're like, oh, thank you. They're always surprised that a white guy, you know, knows his way around. This is nice, eh? I've never been on this road before. Hopefully it lasts. I took another side street like this, and it like ended right away. This one's 2 lanes, so I've got hope that it'll go farther. Okay, so yeah, so first, I was just talking about FIRST motorcycle. People often ask me, this T-Fields, what would be a good first motorcycle to buy? And my answer is the cheapest, smallest bike you can find. That is the absolutely best motorcycle you can buy. Find yourself a $600 beater from some guy, you know, that's been sitting in his garage, and he just fixed it up, get it to work. You know, as long as the bike works, you know, of course, and it's safe to ride. You know, but even if the tires are a bit too hard and the shocks are a bit too shitty, it's not going to matter, because if it's your first bike, you're not going to be taking it to the limit, you know what I mean? If your first bike has, like, you know, top of the line racing shocks and, you know, fully adjustable front and rear suspension and this and that, well, why the fuck does it have that? You're not going to use any of those things. You're not going to push the shocks to 20% of their limit. So you don't, you know what I mean? And chances are you're going to drop the bike a few times, and there's a very, very good chance you're going to have a low-speed crash on the bike. So what's the point in buying an expensive bike? There's none, you know? And the more expensive the bike, the more nervous you're going to be about dropping it, and the more nervous you are, the more poorly you're going to ride, and the less chances you're going to take. You know, when you ride a motorcycle, a large part of it is being comfortable. That's why I only have one hand on, because I'm comfortable. No, like a large part of it is being like relaxed. You know, if you're tense and you're like holding on tight, that causes the bike to ride worse. Like it really does. Like tensing up your arms will cause the bike to like shake and wobble. Simple as that. So you need to be relaxed. You need to be smooth on the bike. And if you're riding around in some $10,000 race machine that you bought as a first bike, you know, then you're not going to be all that relaxed. I wouldn't be relaxed riding on that bike. So this is beautiful, eh? Look at this Chinese home in the middle of the country. These cool plants with red leaves. I don't know what they are. And there's a grave up there on the side of that mountain. Someone from their family. Nice road. Never been on it before. Yeah, so palm trees. Yep. So my first motorcycle ever was a Yamaha Seika, S-E-C-A. I have a picture of it. Maybe I'll edit it into the video here. And it was a great bike for learning. I dropped it, I don't even know how many times. Probably like 5 times I dropped it on its side. If it had been a racing bike, you know, each time you drop it, it costs you about $1,000 American just for the plastics that you scratch up. So yeah, I dropped it a few times. I never crashed it, but I rode it like a maniac. I would take ramps. There'd be like skateboarders on the road, and they had a ramp set up. And one time I saw the ramp, and I just kind of drove at it, and I honked my horn. I got like skateboarders jumping out of my way, and then I take the ramp and do a jump, and they're like woohoo in the background, and I'm like, yeah, you know, like I didn't care. I drove it like a maniac. And there's like there was like a toll booth there. What is this? I don't know. It's interesting. So yeah, you know, I treated the bike like crap, and I abused it, and I drove the shit out of it, and I was practicing doing wheelies on it and doing jumps with it, and it was a great first bike. Yeah. My next bike was a cruiser. And cruisers are actually they're really, really easy to control. They're easier to control than sports bikes at lower speeds. Like, because you sit so low, so they have a low center of gravity. So for just like putting around, a cruiser is actually easier to ride. So in that sense, a cruiser style bikes are actually an okay bike to learn on as well. Because cruisers, you can't push them too far, you know, because they don't have the suspension or the handling capabilities of like a race bike. So you need to kind of like take it easier with it. It's like a housing community here, it looks like. So, but if you're just learning, again, you're not going to be pushing many limits, so you'll be okay. And yeah, so that you know, the main point is if you want to buy a motorcycle, don't buy a new bike. Don't go out and just get the cheapest frickin' bike. You can get yourself like a 250cc Ninja for cheap, and in good condition, because people buy those bikes intelligent people buy those bikes as a learner bike, as a beginner's bike, and they ride it for like a year or 6 months, and they learn how to ride on it, and then once they've learned how to ride, then they sell it and get something bigger. You know, a lot of people do that. A lot of people stick with a 250. That's fine. It's still faster than any car. So yeah. So you could pick up one of those bikes from someone like that, and it'll be in good shape, and it'll be cheap, and then you can probably sell it for as much as you paid for it, or almost. You're not going to take much of a loss. So if you can afford a new bike, then you can obviously afford a second-hand 250, and that's what you should get. And then after that, yeah, I think my bike. I got a few people who have said that they're going to buy it. There's a few people who watch my vids who have actually gone out and bought the same bike as me, the Ninja 650R. And Kawasaki, if you're listening to this, then you send me something, for fuck's sake. You know, like how many, like I know of at least 4 or 5 Ninja 650Rs that were like sold to people, or that people bought because of me specifically. You know what I mean? And like how many people out there are watching my videos that go out and buy the bike and don't bother writing in to tell me, you know? Like how many bikes have I sold for Kawasaki? Anyways, I'm ranting now. Look at this road, eh? I've never been on this road before. I just took a little side street off the number 3 that I normally ride on, and this little side street is turning into like a gorgeous, long-ass, well-paved road. I could take this on my Ninja at fairly high speed. This is a nice little quaint Chinese house, farm. Anyway, so that's the end of that topic.